Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to the Closet Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I find in my closet while cleaning. This week's episode is the Ugetsu from 1953, and it starts with an intro credits and a farmer's family preparing a wagon to go to the market. And this takes place during the war times of Japan. So the two men are pulling it to the market, and they return. And later they try to make some pots, and one of the men also tries to join the military, but to no avail. He gets declined to be a samurai. And later that night, the village gets raided by bandits, and they're forced to flee, but the greed gets the better of the men, and they return to the village to get some spoils. And then they get an abandoned boat, and they try to cross a river, and they come across a man in it. He's dying and tells them not to go in a specific location because bad things will happen. They give him some water, and then he passes. One of the farmer's wife and kids are left behind on shore because it's too dangerous to go along, or with them, I should say. And the man goes to the market to sell the pots, and one of the men takes the money that he earned to buy some armor because he wanted to be a samurai. And the other man, he gets invited to this monastery, this sort of temple. It's not really clear, but it's a very eerie place by a very strange woman. And then even more stranger things happen to the pottery man. He is engaged in a wedding ceremony, and there's a lot of singing, and I think it's called a fox wedding. So he's basically he's married to a ghost now. It's rather weird. And the man who wanted to become a samurai, he becomes one by taking the head of another important samurai to another leader. And he meets his wife at a brothel because now she's a prostitute, and things are not looking good for these people. That's the nice way of putting it. And the man, the pottery man, managed to break the spell of the ghost, and he finds himself in the ruin of the temple. And he tries to go home to see his wife and kids, but it turns out his son has survived, but not his wife. So he thinks he sees his wife, but it's actually a ghost. And things from there turn more or less normal. He returns to make pottery and is actually happy. And at the end of the movie, people return to the village, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. They kind of rebuild what was broken. So what did I think of the movie? It's about greed and struggle during the war times in Japan, where the peasants and the villagers didn't have a good time against bandits and other samurai. And I like the movie. It's one of those things I talked about before. I like black and white movies, and especially samurai movies. It's a thing with how the long shots, long takes, and little dialogue, but you know exactly what's going on. And it also has some interesting supernatural elements in form of ghosts and yokai. And I like the concept of it. And I also watched a little bit of, I think his name is Martin Scorsese. He talked about this movie and doing a restoration project, and I think it's done. So you can actually see this movie on YouTube in full length, and I think even like 4K, which is kind of crazy. Can I recommend it? Probably not, but if you're interested in film and like filmmaking, this is a good one to watch because there's a lot of inputs in it that I think at least are interesting. So anyway, thank you for listening and for watching, and take care.